Manifestation is not a TikTok trend. It's not a Pinterest board or a weekend affirmation challenge. The truth is manifestation's ancient, older than empires, older than religion. And for most of history it's been hidden. But hidden by whom and why? That's what this video is about. Because once you understand this, once you see who's been using this knowledge all along, something clicks. You realize the people in power, the ones that shaped the world behind the curtain, they've known this all along. They've been using it not just to build fortunes, but to shape reality itself. And while the rest of us were taught to pray, obey, and work harder, they were teaching their inner circles how to think, assume, and imagine deliberately. So here's the real history of manifestation. The hidden architects, the ones who encoded it in pyramids, scriptures, and secret schools, and the reason this knowledge was buried, and why it is now rising again. So let's begin where all creation starts, in the beginning. So long before modern psychology, long before the word manifestation even existed, ancient civilizations were already teaching it. Let's start with Egypt. The priests of ancient Kemet weren't just performing rituals. They believed the universe was mental, that everything visible had an invisible origin. If this sounds familiar, it's because it's the first Hermetic Principle, the all is mind. This was taught under the figure Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing and magic. Later the Greeks renamed him Hermes Trismegistus, the same principle but different language. The temples were schools of creation, but only the initiated gained access. This was sacred knowledge and not for the masses. In India, the Vedic sages spoke of Maya, the illusion of the material world, and they taught that the true self is the source of all things. The Upanishad said, "You are that," meaning the divine creator and the created are one. Shamans in indigenous cultures held similar truths. They didn't see visions as fantasy. They saw them as reality waiting to materialize. They understood the power of focused intention, of altered states, of ritual, all tools for shifting the inner world to affect the outer. So why was this hidden? Because power in the hands of everybody threatens the control of the few, and that theme's just beginning. But when mainstream religions started tightening their grip, something interesting happened. The teachings of manifestation didn't disappear. They went underground. So let's start with the Essenes. These were mystical Jews who practiced inner purification, visualization, and silence. They believed the kingdom of God was within, not in the sky. The Gnostics followed a similar path. They believed in the idea that a divine spark, the cause of creation, existed in everybody. But the church labeled them heretics, because if you believe the divine is within you, you don't need an external authority. Then you got Kabbalah. The tree of life wasn't just decoration. It's a diagram to show how thoughts move from pure idea to physical form. It's a system of conscious creation disguised as mysticism. The Rosicrucians and the Freemasons kept this knowledge alive during the Dark Ages. They used symbols, the compass, the square, the unfinished pyramid, not just for buildings, but for building reality. They believed man was the architect of his own life, and that through understanding natural law, you could become more than just human. This is where hiding in plain sight starts to become very real. The symbols are everywhere. You've just never been taught what they mean. So if manifestation is real and the mind creates reality, the next question is obvious. Why doesn't everybody know this? Well, the truth is it's been buried, burned, and ridiculed for centuries. The church knew what it was doing. Gnostic texts were destroyed. Women practicing healing or intuition were labelled witches. Libraries like the one at Alexandria were burned to erase ancient knowledge, not because it was useless, because it was too powerful. And then came the rise of material science. During the Enlightenment, the Western world shifted hard towards rationalism. If it couldn't be seen, measured, or dissected, it didn't exist. The invisible world, thoughts, consciousness, imagination, became pseudoscience. You were taught to believe in hard facts, bricks, steel, the physical. And why was this? Because if you only believe in the physical, you're far more easier to control. You stop questioning, you stop creating, and you start conforming. Government, school, media, they don't need you to be powerful. They need you to be productive. So they keep the ancient knowledge locked away in secret societies and elite families. Meanwhile, the average person is told to dream small, work hard, and wait for retirement. And that's how humanity forgot who they were, until recently. So in the early 1900s, these teachings started coming back. It started quietly with homemade pamphlets and underground lectures. Phineas Quimby was one of the first. He taught that illness and failure were a result of false beliefs, and that by changing thought you change your life. His ideas inspired the entire New Thought movement. Florence Scovel Shinn followed, writing with absolute conviction that your word is your wand. She didn't ask you to believe, she told you to assume. Then came Neville Goddard, the master of assumption. He said that your imagination creates reality, literally. And he gave instructions, how to feel it real, how to live in the end, and how to pray, not as asking, but as assuming. Joseph Murphy brought these ideas to the mainstream with the power of your subconscious mind. He explained that belief is the mechanism, and that whatever you impress upon your subconscious must be expressed. Manly Palmer Hall laid out the esoteric framework and the secret teachings of all ages. He showed how everything, from ancient temples to medieval cathedrals, encoded the same truth, and yet this knowledge was still mocked and dismissed, because if the public accepted it, it's game over for the systems of control. But now the internet has changed everything. You're here watching this, and the doors that once were closed are wide open. So here's the real reason it was hidden. Manifestation isn't about attracting love, wealth, or success. It's something far bigger than that. It's about realizing that you have the ability to shape reality itself. Not react with it, not cope with it, but change it and mold it. Create it according to your vision. That kind of power doesn't just affect your life, it changes the world. And that's exactly why it was hidden. If even a fraction of the population started to use this consciously, the old systems would collapse. The ones built on fear, scarcity, and obedience. Schools were designed to create compliant workers, not free thinkers. The media keeps you distracted and doubtful, because a mind that believes in its power won't keep buying products to fill the void. And organized religions depend on you believing that you're separate from the divine. This knowledge was never lost, it was just passed down quietly, behind closed doors, among the elite, in private schools, through generational habits. Not always using the word manifestation, but those principles like assumption, unshakable confidence, expectation, and laser focus. While the masses were taught to follow, they were teaching their children how to lead reality itself. You were trained to doubt, and they were trained to make decisions. But now that's all changing. It's your turn to create. So for me, if you've made it this far, you're no longer on the outside looking in. You're in. You've crossed a threshold that most people never even notice. You've joined a silent lineage, one that stretches from ancient temple scribes and mystics to modern-day seekers. The hidden architects of manifestation weren't born differently. They weren't chosen. They were simply aware. And now so are you. That awareness is your inheritance. Use it, study it, apply it. Not just to improve your circumstances, but to redefine what life even is. You're not here to hope, you're here to create. To remember what's always been true. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, leave me a comment. I always love hearing from you guys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and join this community of like-minded people. As always, thank you so much for your engagement and support. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye for now.